So when we go in, they're like, hey, we want you to take the lie detector test. And I'm like, cool, no
No
problem. Like,
fucking
I'll take the lie
way.
detector test. No, the story gets way crazier, bro. So I go to take the lie detector test, and it's like in some random hotel room in East Cape, Mexico. And the guy like goes to introduce himself, and he's like, I'm an active FBI agent for the last 35 years. I'm just letting you know that this is what I do for a living. This isn't like some random fucking lie detector test that we bought online. I give lie detectors for the FBI for the last 35 years.
And I'm doing this on
And
the
I'm
weekend
like,
for a
motherfucker.
hobby.
That's gnarly.
You know, like, okay.
We're gonna welcome Ivan from Jungle Boys. Shout out Ivan. This is the Masonic Smoker podcast. We got Frank Castillo on the boards in the cut. You guys can't see him, but you could hear him.
What up, Ivan? Good to see you. Nice to meet you.
What up?
We got all the team up in here, so it's kind of, we're gonna get better as we go. I got some cool questions lined up for you. It's not just like riff raff shit. Nothing too crazy, just regular shit, like,
Okay, real quick.
you know.
Do some technical stuff. Just bring this a little closer.
Yeah, we got O in here. Careful.
I could bring it closer if you need.
You're all up in Ivan's space. Take it easy there. All right. So we're gonna hit you with probably kind of cliche, but like a bridge version. They can always allude to another one if there's like a longer one, but like origin story of Ivan and Jungle Boys.
Yep. So a lot of people know my story. I've told it a lot of times, but we'll go back to the beginning. Always fucking smoked weed. Always sold weed. You know, high school shit. Always hung out with the older kids. So it got me in a lot of trouble doing that, good and bad, you know. And never really understood the plant. Just knew that I liked growing it and it was cool. And my mom would give me tips every now and then on what to do. And then things became serious when medical marijuana kind of got popping in LA, and I wasn't really in the scene, but prior to growing, I didn't really look at it like a business. I looked at it more of like a hobby, and you know, grew some plants in it with some O's and smoked it with all the homies. But then my dad had ended up getting sick and getting cancer, and we were at City of Hope. My dad's a veteran, so we went through the whole veteran hospital thing, got the runaround. It was a bunch of bullshit. And then we ended up at City of Hope, and at that time he had stage 4 cancer, and one of the doctors was like, try cannabis. And we were like, okay. And he was like, I try some edibles first, you know, for his appetite, see if that works. And it worked, and it helped him. And that kind of opened my mind up. Anything that I do, I like to study it. So whatever it is, if it's a hobby, if it's fishing, if it's guns, whatever it is, I stay up all night reading it, watching videos.
So you have a lot of guns, is what you're telling me. I'm just let's keep it rolling, guys. We mentioned hobbies, and he threw in guns, but and a lot of fish, no doubt. But
yeah, so like fishing's a big hobby of mine, and now that I got to spend more time in a different state of Florida, you know, growing up in California, you know, I've always taught, you know, I was always brought up around guns. My dad always taught me safety guns, never play with them.
no doubt.
You know, how dangerous they are. You know, hey, this is what you use them for, self-protection, all that stuff. So
But
I got a chance to spend time in Florida and realize, like, you have real rights in that state.
no doubt.
You know, you can actually get a CCW permit, and you can legally carry a gun and all that stuff, where California is completely different. You know, only criminals are allowed to have guns.
So do you have a little Florida in you now? Like,
A little bit. You know, I'm born and raised in LA. I'll always be in
Yeah.
LA, but
Have you shot a fish yet?
I never shot a fish.
No, okay,
no.
okay.
that's
No.
when they give you your Florida ID. That's
Yeah,
the only way to get your Florida ID.
Or you catch a gator by hand.
There you
Oh,
go.
damn.
Yeah. But let's tie back to the origin story.
Sure.
Your dad got stage 4 cancer.
Yeah, so my dad gets cancer. He ends up moving in with me. I take care of him, go through the whole entire thing, hospice, super brutal. Wouldn't recommend anybody going through it. Listen, watching someone die from cancer and take their last breath is fucking brutal. You know, so as we were giving him like edibles and stuff, it was helping, and you know, I was like, you know, this is fucking cool, you know. And the doctor was like, I can't recommend it to you myself, but I can tell you that there's ways of going around doing it, about getting a medical card and all that stuff. And this was, you know, 15, 16, 17 years ago.
2003.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
You know, and so I start looking into it, and I realize shit's crazy. It's like the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
There's guys opening up shops in their house. There's guys opening up shops in apartment complexes. At that time, it was never a business, you know.
It was like big boy shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you couldn't, very low key.
Very low key. Most of the cannabis was coming from Northern California, and NorCal was kind of running shit. And there was some guys in LA that were doing things, but if you were doing it, like you had 20 lights, that was big. That was real big. Most people were growing in houses at the time. So I start getting super immersed in it, and at the time I'm working another job, like a real job, doing
FedEx.
construction at FedEx. Yeah. So I'm doing a lot of construction with them. I'm growing. I'm doing all my shit, but I'm studying cannabis, like everything about it. And I realized that if I was gonna do it, I wanted to do it vertically integrated.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, if I'm gonna have a store like everyone else, I also want to have a grow, so people understood where the flower was coming from.
Yeah.
So like, if you come to my shop and you say, hey, like, oh, this flower is bomb, you could be like, oh, it was grown right here.
Yeah.
Or if you looked at the hash on the shelf and you're like, oh, this hash is bomb, you could be like, oh, we make the hash right here. You want to come check it out?
No doubt.
So we built a spot in Santa Fe Springs. It was called NGC, Nature's Green Cure, and it was a really cool vibe there. It was different. It was ahead of its time. We opened up with 60 lights, and 60 lights, in 2006 at the time, that was doing it big. So we basically had 320 lighters inside the building. We were running. You got to remember at the time we have like 200 amps.
What
right?
year is this? Just to like recapture.
Like 2006. Around there.
2006.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we end up opening up the shop there, and at the time, I remember Green Coast Hydro was open, but you couldn't go to the hydro store in your regular car. Everyone was super sketched out. Feds still weren't cool with it. Obama hadn't done his, or I forget what administration was at the time, hadn't done their letter saying basically we're okay with it.
Yeah.
So it was still not cool to do. And we ended up opening up, and the shop that did really, really good at the time. So we ended up renting the units next to us. So we had basically 220 lighters, or 320 lighters, and then a 40 lighter, a 20, and a 20. So you're talking, over 100 lights at the time.
Yeah.
And back then, running 100 lights was like big shit. You're doing big shit.
No doubt.
And this is old days. This is like magnetic ballast days before adjust the wings.
No doubt.
So we're doing our thing, and shop's doing cool, and kind of the state and the city starts progressing. LA's popping at the time, right? Everyone's opening up a shop in LA. More shops are starting opening up in Santa Fe Springs, and shit starts getting real because now we have a real business. Lines out the door. I mean, shops popping
At NGC.
at NGC.
And there's no TLC, there's no Jungle Boys. It's
TLC was around, but we weren't part of it. So TLC was originally started by a guy called Frank Shep.
and you guys got that a little bit later as he started to throw the towel in or something like that, right?
Correct. So
Yeah.
Frank Sheftel is the original founder of TLC, and that was a little house in the valley. He was basically running a shop in the valley. I'm talking like 1 or 2 jars. It was a hospice care. He was taking in cancer patients and AIDS patients, like real medical marijuana shit. And sometimes I'd vend packs to Frank. He would only have like 1 or 2 really fire OGs on the shelf.
Those packs that you vended
Yeah.
to Frank, was that like was there a Jungle Boys yet when you
No,
were vending?
so that would have been the Jack May offer days.
No doubt. And were those like, was there branding at the time, or they just put it in a mason jar and they're like, check out this flower, and out the door? And
Yeah, so I would say that in my opinion, the first cannabis brands that started were on the boards.
Yeah.
It was either you had a seed bank and you sold some shitty seeds that every time somebody popped them, they sucked.
Yeah.
Because, at the time you were ordering shit from like Amsterdam and High Times. There was no, I could go and hit up my homie and he was making seeds, or people were reversing stuff. None of that shit was happening at the time. So there was clones, and a lot of the clones were sold through the medical shop. So, Harborside would have drops, we would have clone drops, but a lot of that stuff back then is not even around at these days. Like that shit's gone.
Let's tie in to a specific question that I have, like specific strains that like you might have lost yourself, that like you may have had in your living library at one point,
Sure.
that are like long gone, that
Sure.
you probably don't have access to.
Yeah.
that you could think of off
Yeah,
rip?
I mean,
If not,
like OG Rascal Skunk that he shot me.
so
That
he
was
OG Rascal had his own rendition of a skunk.
yes. He had his own rendition of a skunk. It wasn't the original skunk that everybody knows. It was his rendition. of
That's
skunk.
why I say it like that.
100%.
Even, you know?
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
claim that I had the original skunk.
I mean,
cut.
it's kind of like a lot of smoke and mirrors and lore when it comes to the whole skunk thing. That it emerged like maybe within the past year or two on Instagram, where everyone's like, oh, skunk, and everyone has their own rendition of it from
Yep.
the outside looking in.
Yeah,
Because I don't know what the hell skunk is. I grew up on
exactly.
OG Kush and Stress.
Exactly, which most people don't know, right? So, unless you're like, I'm 45 years old, so I know a lot of things like back in the day, hazes and sativas and old school chems and all. None of that shit was when I was younger. It just started, over the last 15 years, people started saying those names.
And the skunk, like you grow a lot of shit. You're surrounded by pot plants, I'd imagine. You don't see that terp in any of the
No.
seed stock clones. It's just gone. That shit.
It's gone. Somebody
Extinct.
has it. I think there's somebody. I mean, we held on to a lot of stuff. We have a crazy library that's deep. But there's things that are out, some guy in the mountains that still grows that strain that, has his, 7 lights in his garage or in his bedroom or whatever. He's probably still holding on to that cut.
No doubt.
But it could be going to the East Coast and no one ever sees it here, or it never makes it to a shop, or it ends up in hash or something like that.
No doubt.
Because there's guys that are definitely holding on to stuff that
Aren't on the internet.
for sure, that aren't on the internet and never want to be on the internet.
This is edited, so like we're
Yep,
gonna bounce
yep,
back and
yep.
forth here and there. What's a day, average day like for you?
Oh man, so I got 3 little ones. So I got 4 kids altogether. I am half Mexican, so I got to have 4 kids.
Yeah.
Hey.
So my oldest daughter doesn't live with me. She's on her own. She's the one that runs the shop for me. And then I have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 10-month-old now.
Neat, man.
So get up super early in the morning, 5:30, 6 a.m. every single morning. Get my daughter off to school, answer emails, do things that I fall asleep with my phone in my hand, answering shit in the middle of the night. And then, things have changed along the years as, I've created successful businesses and different companies and different industries. And, cannabis is like my love and what I do, but I've kind of diversified everything in my life because I realized that, at the end of the day, there's more to life than just cannabis.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of real estate stuff, just personal stuff. And so an average day would be me get up, get my daughter off to school, and just from the minute I wake up till I go to sleep, I'm dealing with shit all day long.
So you diversified your bonds. You ever seen that Wu-Tang episode for Chappelle Show?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yep.
Gotta diversify your bonds.
It's so funny because it's like seeing my my wife's. It's like talking to my father-in-law. It is like so funny because he's an electrician, so he like did his own job, created his own business stuff, and he used to be a big stoner, but his life changed into like a whole. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's just funny to see this. Was just like, oh, you were exactly the same age and exactly like.
No doubt.
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, like you're chilling on boats and like, that's what you show.
Sure.
But like all this stemmed from play, from hobby, and from like helping pops out. So,
yeah, for sure.
So like they're safe to say like got it out the mud.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I grew up poor. I grew up. I slept on my grandma's living room floor. I moved 24 times growing up. We moved a lot. So I didn't have a lot of things. I always had, like, my parents took care of me as far as food and clothes, but that's about it.
Yeah, I remember you saying the 24 time things, and I'm like, let me count how many, because I
wild.
moved a couple times,
It's wild.
and I'm like, man, I'm not even gonna count because
Yeah.
it's probably like 10, and
10 is crazy.
and that shit would have got me down if I thought about it too
Yeah.
hard. So I just kept pushing,
Yeah.
I was on the ride here. I kind of like made sure I didn't ask the same shit too many times. There's a big like social media and like the weed business correlation. Like, safe to say, Instagram helped you push your vessel, right?
I would say that what really helped me was being on the boards.
No doubt.
Creating a brand before there was brand. When I originally made my profile, it's funny looking back at it. Like, I was always a big Howard Stern fan. I would always listen to it on the way to work, and I remember making my my THC farmer profile. And when I went up there, I was like, "Oh, jack me off" or whatever. because you never think like this name is gonna stick, right?
Yeah.
You're like, and at the time you couldn't show your face and you had to be hidden.
No doubt.
So, and back then, like my first clapped out boat that I ever bought, the name of it was Masturbator. Right? It was just like a joke, Masturbator. So when I made that name, Jack May Offer, and I ended up like kind of the boards were popping, like Texas Kid, myself, Capulator, like we had the boards.
Was
popping.
Capulator still Capulator at the time?
Capulator has always been Capulator.
No shit.
Yep.
Fucking Cap. You stuck to your guns with that name, huh?
Yep,
I
yep.
love it. You too with the Jack May Offer. I mean, it didn't Jungle Boys, but
Yeah.
still.
So I think, there was a lot of guys on there. I don't remember everyone that was on there. OG Rascal was another one that was on there, but no one ever showed their face, and it was always like, hey, here's my grow, and I'm super low-key about it. So I kind of was the first one to, like, really start shit popping, like, hey, here's 100 lights, and everyone's like, you're fucking crazy.
On the forums.
On the forums.
You're in that case.
Like, you're crazy. How you doing it? But at the time, like I believed in what I was doing. I believed that it was medical marijuana and we were helping people and we were really seeing patients every single day. And it wasn't like on some like trap shit. Like
you were doing it to a higher degree because like I've always got to run for my money, like smoking pot from, stigmas and my parents themselves. But like you were like growing a lot of shit and you're like, this is like good. Like I'm not doing like I'm spreading the love right here,
Yeah, not only spreading the love, it was like you could see all my weeds being grown here and I'm selling it right here at the store, right? I'm not flipping packs out the back. I'm not trapping shit. Like this is what I'm doing. It's all medical. If I have any leftover packs, it gets donated to a shop like DTPG in LA. I go to LA. This is how I do it. And my lawyer at the time was Eric Shevin, who's like one of the best cannabis lawyers. He's like retired now, semi-retired now. But it was like I would always lean on him, like, "Hey, we good? Like, you're doing as long as you have your rec, you have your patients, you have your card." And at the time, we had like 10,000 patients.
You were pioneering a lot of shit out here, I'd imagine, like at the forefront of like just doing shit. Like, fuck it, like let's post a picture of our 100 lighter.
Listen, there was guys that were doing bigger shit than me, but I don't necessarily know that they were sharing it. It was more like, hey, I'm gonna keep it to myself and not share it. Where I was like, dude, this is medical. Let's share it with everybody. Let's teach everyone.
And it helps spotlight.
100%.
Fuck yeah.
Like, hey, let's show everyone what we're doing.
And that started on the forums, not Instagram.
Forums.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Did you feel like there was any pushback when you started doing that?
No, like most people that were on the forums at that day all were doing the same shit I was doing on some level. Whether you had a plant in your house or there was guys that had warehouses with thousands of lights, they just never showed it. A lot of the guys that were doing it big at the time back then were doing it in Canada. This is before Canada was legal. Like all these BC packs that were coming down, they had to be grown somewhere, right? And they were being grown in Canada. And at that time, I think I'm popping with 100 lights and there's guys popping up on the forums showing 500 lights in Canada, and you're like, holy shit, like these guys
crazy.
are doing it
Wow.
big.
I smoke a lot of weed, like hash preferably. If there's weed around, like you brought some weed, that's getting smoked the fuck up. Like I'm gonna roll up a bunch of blunts and smoke it all. You got a lot of weed, you got a lot of resources. What's your like daily consumption like, and what like was your peak of consumption?
It's got to be tough.
Like
for
was there a
kids,
day where
right?
you just like rosin dabbing and you were just going crazy, or were you just always just a flower smoke, you kept it moderate? Like, what would you describe yourself and your consumption as?
I think like when TLC first opened up and we were there every day kind of just chilling out, figuring everything out, like always watching the cameras, thinking we're going to get raided. It was super heavy smoking all day, every day.
And what does that consist of? Like joints, bongs, the
Joints,
shatter you guys
bongs,
were making at the time, all
dabs,
that shit?
everything. Like
Love it.
we're smoking all day, every day.
Fuck yeah.
And then now that it's like wake up in the morning, I have kids, it's like these pens saved my life.
No doubt. I'm watching you smoke out of that.
Interesting.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
he's probably doing that now,
Yeah.
Me, I'm probably not nearly as busy as you, but like I still like very ritualistic smoke, you know? Like I got to sit down. It takes me 5 minutes just to clean that every single time. And it's like, this is the only way. And I'd smoke my blunts too.
For sure.
But just want to give like some insight on like the levels to this shit,
Yeah, that or a joint, like papers. No, for me, no blunts, just papers.
Crutch or no crutch? Do you put the tip or no tip?
I'm good either way.
Like when you roll it up, like
ambidextrous.
I do no tip. I'm
yeah,
no
yeah,
tip.
yeah. I mean, usually no tip unless I'm like, all right, special occasion. I'm
all right. Yeah, mine's like I'm gonna smoke with the wife. I'll put a tip in there.
There you go. Exactly.
All right. Fuck yeah. Okay. How you feeling about the podcast
Cool,
so
we're
far?
cool.
Everything good?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I'm glad. I don't want to make anything funky.
No, we're good.
I got dope ass questions. So pheno hunts. I know you're growing like you need like agronomically feasible plants nowadays with the scale you grow at. I'd imagine. But like, what do you look for in pheno hunts? Me personally, biomass is dope, right? Like it's always good to get a nice yielder. But I like to coin terps that aren't necessarily in the network. Like honey banana is a terp that it's out there, but no one's really made many seed hybrids of it, let alone put out a clone of it into the network. Like, what do you look for in new pheno hunts?
So, like, I brought you 5 or 6 different strains, and you can smell each one of them. They're all different.
Yeah.
I think that when it comes to pheno hunting, yield is always pretty much the last thing on our bucket list. If it yields, of course, unless it's something that just doesn't yield at all.
Yeah.
It's not even worth growing because, you can't even get a pound of light off of it. But that's usually last. First thing when you open the bag, someone has to say, "Oh shit, what the fuck is this?"
Already.
So we're always looking for unique terpenes and unique smells that come out of it, but we always do the bag test. The thing about it is everyone that works for us they're all heavy smokers.
No doubt.
And if you grow, you also have to. We can't have anybody growing our flower that doesn't smoke.
I'm a firm believer of that as well.
1,000%. So we talk shit a lot because we go to the shop and we'll see batches and we'll be like, "Do you guys not smoke weed anymore?"
Let alone make seeds. Imagine there's. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. So it has to have unique terps, it has to look good, and it has to have somewhat of an okay yield. And then the rest of it is kind of now diving deep into it. That's like the first round of phenos. You kind of okay, this has something unique. There's something there. If you open it up and you're like guessing or trying to figure out what it smells like because it doesn't really have anything there, it's like, okay, that gets put to the side. No. I mean, if we pop 500 seeds, we might keep 1 or 2.
No doubt.
So we're especially nowadays, like you gotta
who has
have
the final say on that strain making the cut?
So myself, Juice, and Roach will have the final say. So once it's been grown 3 times, and we're like, okay, this is the one. We'll do one final run of it, and we'll say, okay, we all agree that this one's keeping. Sometimes it's 2 that end up staying, but we never call it the same name. Meaning, like Kill Shot, right? Like Kill Shot's Motor Breath times Sunset Sherbert. We're not going to call it Kill Shot and then name it a different name.
Yeah.
With the same strain, we'll basically call it Kill Shot, and then the second pheno will be Motor Breath times Sunset Sherbert.
No doubt that it's different. They're completely different. You could grow a root beer cross to like me, a root beer pure face off tie. One smells like completely terpenoline dominant, and the other one smells like the gas. Like some pure Kush, and it's like they're the same, strain name or whatever, chemovar. I don't know how they say it, but they're completely different phenos.
Correct.
When you're smoking for work, is it a different ritual when you guys do the final test?
No, it's all pretty much the same. You want to how you smoke it every day is how you want to taste it and smoke it and make sure that it passed the sticky test. If we're looking for something that's going to go to hash, then hey, it has to have these 4 things. If it's going something to flour, it has to have these 4 things. But most everything we grow, the cool thing that I think we do is whenever you buy our hash, you can always buy our flour.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we never do. Hey, this whole entire room's getting hashed out, and you never see it because we took it at day 45. Right, the same hash the same rainbow belts that you're smoking on the shelf is the same pen, rosin, full melt, and BHO. It's all the same. It's all the same. It was taken from the same room,
archive.
Same stuff, and I think that's something that we've always taken pride in. Is like, hey, if you're smoking the hash, there's the flour right there. You can see the quality of the flour, so it's not like, oh, the room had a problem and we took it down at day 45 and you're smoking on some fire motor breath that was really had a problem. No, you can see the flour right there.
Yeah.
You can see how good it came out.
And I've done that. I've gotten all. I'm like, I got to try the whole thing.
No doubt. You said like so a pheno hunt. You said you'll pop 600. You end up keeping 1, 2, 3, or something like that. Is that one strain, or is that like 600 seeds, 1 pack of this, 2 packs of that, ends up coming down to like 30 packs?
Yeah, no. So normally
what entails a pheno hunt? Like how many seeds do you have to pop to like what are your guidelines? Like me, one seed, if there's something good in there, fuck it. We have something to set it to. Yeah, we could have done, but sometimes you got a bag seed and it's all you have to work with. But you, Ivan, what do you entail in a pheno hunt? How many seeds and
I mean, at like a minimum of 100
of one strain,
of
right?
one strain.
And
yeah.
that's how you find your keeper.
Yeah, so we'll do
Beautiful.
100 unless it's something like somebody shot me something that's unique and they only ended up with like 50 seeds
Exactly.
of it, but I'm popping all 50.
Exactly.
Right, like right now we're going through a bunch of cheese stuff and a bunch of candy cake stuff and a bunch of Skittle cheese crosses from Green Dot Dave, and some of them, were 150 seeds and some of them were only 50 seeds, but it was like, okay, pop all of them.
So there's like a cheese resurgence right now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, cheese
You
come
think
back.
it's a legacy strain resurgence, or you think it's like I see I don't want to like I've seen some people do cheese, right?
Sure.
Like currently Skittles cheese
Yep.
and oh, we're bringing cheese back, you
Yep.
know, the Zitos, and
Yep.
I personally grew the Dynafem cheese, and I got a UK cheese from All Star Clones, and that's as far as down the cheese rabbit hole that I've gone.
Yeah, I think I think that a lot of
And
these,
they're okay.
Yeah, that's the thing,
Yeah.
right? So it's like if you get the real cheese, you're like, this shit's fire.
No
right?
doubt.
You smell it, you're like, damn.
That's what I want.
Now I know where it gets the cheese name from it. But I think the problem is a lot of these guys try to bring back strains, and is it even the real cheese that you're trying to bring back?
Exactly. Like no offense to Dynafem, like I'm just there's no way to tell how that book is if you never go pick it up
Yep.
and read it. So I'm like, let me see what this is like. And don't get me wrong, like plant grew really great, but like it doesn't have the power of suggestion that the name cheese might give
Yeah.
you, right? Like if someone tells you this is cheese, you want to smell some fucking cheese. Like
Yep.
you don't want to smell floral, sweet.
No, yeah.
No, like you want to smell some fucking cheese. And
Yeah.
and that's what I got from the renditions of cheese that come across my hands so
Yeah,
far.
no, if we're going to drop a cheese cross and we're going to put it out there and we're going to put our name on it, it's got to smell like cheese. It's got to smell like the original cheese. We're not going to put out some blanded bullshit cut that
Love
doesn't, like no fucking way.
Love it, love it. Fuck yeah. Well, man, we got some, you let me know whenever it's too much, and
Cool,
I'm
cool.
just making sure we get all the cool shit. I see you got California, Los Angeles specifically, and you got Florida. Any upcoming storefronts in any other states, or that's kind of where your head is at right now?
Yeah, I think for us, we've never, like, a lot of people think we're a lot bigger than we actually are. Like we get it all the time. Like we get compared to, a bunch of different brands out there where I'm like, those brands are in like 15 different states and they're publicly owned or they have all these investors and all this stuff. Jungle Boys is 100% still owned by us. We've never took on any investors or outside money. So we don't answer to anybody.
Gangster.
So at the end of the day, we've always wanted to do stuff and work with people that we enjoy working with and we want to go to work every day. So I couldn't imagine, doing a deal with some public company and you're sitting there like answering to them every day, or you're, growing shit because they need to hit their bottom line or their numbers or whatever. So we've always kind of been slow to grow. And when everybody else was, the Medman model, I need to have a shop on every corner and this is what I need to do. I was always like, listen, we have 1,500 lights in LA, flowering lights. Like, we're cool. Like, we're straight. We don't need to have 10,000 lights and a store on every single corner and be in every single state, because to me that just sounds like a big fucking headache and nothing but problems.
No doubt. Only take what you can handle. Organic as fuck. I'm kind of in the same boat right now. I'm just, no one's ever really like tapped in and kind of
Yep.
got this going on with me. No, it's just
Yep.
whatever I feel is cool and creative. That's where I'm headed, and I'm gonna work with the people that I deem cool, and that's it.
Yeah, and this is not a knock on public companies. If you want to do a public company and make a run for it and make a bunch of money and own a bunch of stocks and all that stuff, that's cool. I have no issue. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hate on that. But me personally, being able to know that at the end of the day, I can keep my employees working, even like right now in the state of California, like shit's tough. Like it's tough to make a dollar, but we're employing our employees. We're not making money. I'm not taking a paycheck. But knowing that I have hundreds of employees that work for me and I can keep them working and I can keep them happy and I can keep their families fed,
Yeah,
I'm cool.
that's what's
Like,
up.
I'm straight.
That's dope as fuck.
That's cool as fuck, man.
What's your favorite fish to catch?
Oh,
Look,
man.
he got all happy. when I
Yeah,
asked him
bro.
that
Oh,
shit.
whoa, bro. It's a whole new podcast right now.
Kaya, do you know Kaya from Pacific Northwest? He
Yeah.
asked me to ask you that.
Yeah, so,
And I got a follow-up question.
okay, cool. I love all types of fishing, whether it's freshwater or saltwater, but I think my two favorite fish to catch would be bluefin up here in California, because we have, a lot of people don't know about it, but right now in the last 6 years, California has the best fishery in the world
Nice.
as far as tuna goes.
Sick.
You can go out. I can take you out on a boat tomorrow, and we can catch a 300-pound bluefin.
Are you inviting me to go
Ooh.
with you tomorrow?
Anytime,
Because
bro.
I'm going.
And
I'm
I
going.
will invite
Anytime.
myself along.
Remember that time we went fishing on Instagram? That shit was dope. I got a tattoo that day. What was the follow-up question? Oh, no, 2 fishes. We only got 1.
So bluefin, and then down in Cabo. So I kind of I've been spending a lot of time down in Cabo. And when I say a lot of time, like I'll go down there for a couple days, and I'm building a house down there, and I send a boat down there so I could have it, and started fishing tournaments down there, and really fell in love with the black marlin fishery down there. So it's really cool. They're like giant catfish. They're 600-700 pound giant catfish. You catch them in like 100 feet of water. You fish with like big skipjack or big tuna, and you troll them behind the boat, and you catch these big 500-600 pound black marlin.
That's gnarly.
99% of them will release. Same with the bluefin. Most of them will release. We'll keep 1 or 2 and we'll eat it.
Sick with it.
But yeah, so I'd say black marlin in Cabo and bluefin in California would be my 2 favorite fish to catch.
Neat. I was eating sashimi last night.
Fire.
You know,
Oof, I love sushi.
it was like an experimental sashimi. Like I was at Gardena Bowl, and I'm like, "You guys have sashimi?" I was like, "Let me see," and I'm like,
Yeah.
It wasn't like.
No.
That's not. You don't go to the taco stand and get hamburgers. You know?
Yeah, come on, Doc.
That's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
what I
yeah.
did. But whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't wake up sick. Which
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
least it was that
you were
good.
like, you like Safeway sushi?
Yeah.
what-
What were you gonna say?
Did you see the big clip that blew up in the fishing community of the
The cheating guys.
the cheating
course.
guys of the tournament?
Of course, because we fish tournaments, right?
Uh-huh.
So this year, the name of my boat is Stella June, and it's named after my daughter. And we fish a bunch of tournaments, and we've won 3 tournaments back to back to back.
And that's
this
how you
year.
guys won.
Oh my God!
No, it's a funny story.
I'm just fucking
no,
around. Keep going.
It goes into that because people ask me all the time, like, is it possible for you guys to cheat?
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're fishing in multi-million-dollar tournaments. Like the last tournament we won was like 1.25 million.
Yeah.
Right?
That you won?
Yeah, we won.
Bro, we gotta start fishing, dog. What the fuck are we doing?
So we've gone back to back to back this year, 3 tournaments in a row we've won, and the last tournament we run was the Bisbee's East Cape, and we caught a black marlin, 375 pounds. No one caught one day 1. We caught it day 2. No one caught one day 3. So the money rolled over all 3 days, and we
Sick
ended up
with
with basically 1.3 million.
That's
Okay.
fire.
So right when you catch the fish, you have to show proof of footage with a timestamp. So the whole entire time the fish is being caught, somebody has to be recording it.
Okay, yeah, I was
Right?
just about to ask. How
You
do they
better have
start
a
with
magician
cheating?
on site with that
Yeah.
sleight of hand, David Blaine on the fucking boat
Yeah.
if you want to cheat, you know?
Yeah, well, and then it gets crazier. So when we go win, they're like, "Hey, we want you to take the lie detector test," and I'm like, "Cool, no
No
problem."
fucking
I'll take the lie
way.
detector test. No, the story gets way crazier, bro. So I go to take the lie detector test, and it's like in some random hotel room in East Cape, Mexico. And the guy like goes to introduce himself, and he's like, "I'm an active FBI agent for the last 35 years. I'm just letting you know that this is what I do for a living. This isn't like some random fucking lie detector test that we bought online. I give lie detectors for the FBI for the last 35 years."
And I'm doing this on
And
the
I'm like,
weekend for a
"Motherfucker."
hobby.
That's gnarly.
Like, okay, and everything's going through my head. Like, this guy's gonna ask me all kinds of crazy questions. I've done
Shit.
way too much dirt in my life,
Fucking
know.
A, man. You're
No,
like
man.
FBI, great. The only guy I wanted to see this fucking
Exactly.
trip. I'm fishing. We're dealing with the
Hilarious.
FBI.
Yeah,
We're supposed to
yeah.
be on fucking vacation
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
here. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
But that's the guy to know. Yeah, no, I'm just-
So they not only cut the fish open to make sure, like the other guys did, because if the video's crazy, those guys like shove weights in the fish's like
Yeah.
stomach or whatever. But these guys are like walleye fishing. They're fishing for like a fish that's 5 pounds. We're catching fish that are like 300 or 400 pounds. So they open up the fish's mouth, and then they cut the beak to make sure nothing falls out. Like you didn't shove like some extra shit inside there. And then after that, you go to take the lie detector. So I do it with the FBI agent, and it's the gnarliest questions ever. Like, have you ever cheated in a game? I'm like, of course I've cheated in a game. Yeah.
You start, you start
Like,
thinking about being 5, playing
have you
sorry.
ever lied before? Right? And I'm
What
like,
the fuck?
fuck, of course I've lied before. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's lied before. So the questions just start getting like way more intense and way more intense. And then he writes down like 1 through 7, and then number 4, you have to write number 4 physically. And then he's going to ask you, hey, is that number 4? But I want you to say no. So did you write number 4? And I'm like, no, right? Because he told me to say no. He's like, okay, I can see that you're lying. So then they put a camera in front of your face, fully hooked up, fucking like full lie detector test, and the whole entire time I could just feel my heart like, because I'm fucking nervous as fuck.
For
Yes, fucking
fishing?
Like I
FBI.
didn't cheat any whatsoever in the test. It was just more like FBI agent. Have you ever cheated? Have you ever lied? I'm like, holy shit, this
Doesn't
is
help that
fucking
you're
nuts.
like a weed guy. Either.
Yeah, you know, like, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, here we
Yeah,
go. Like,
yeah,
you already
yeah.
know what I do for a living. You're an FBI agent. You
Yeah,
already
yeah,
checked
yeah.
me out last
no
night.
doubt, no doubt.
You know, so I do it. Obviously, I pass. We're cool, and at the end, you know, I'm like, "Are we cool?" He's like, "Yeah, you're good." I'm like, "So what happens if I didn't pass?" He's like, "I would have asked you a bunch more questions, a series of questions, and then kept going deeper and deeper and deeper." So like the only questions that you lied up on were the questions that that you obviously either said yes to or I told you to lie upon. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I feel better about it.
No doubt.
So then my next question was obviously, has anybody ever failed before? He's like 3 times. So there's been 3 guys that have lost millions of dollars in a tournament because they could not pass a lie detector test.
Holy shit! And they might have like won though. Still, like it's like going to jail and like.
So that was my next question.
Bro,
They said
fishing
that-
like
They said there
Scientology,
was an
huh?
issue with their video. So there was something missing in the video, like maybe they grabbed the leader and that wasn't in the video,
Yeah.
right? Or there was a part of the clip that there was some sort of issue that they weren't clear on. So you got to, if you had the video and you passed the lie detector test, maybe you have an argument there saying, hey, it's all on video. We never cheated,
Yeah.
right? But I think if you have something missing from the video and you lie on the lie detector test,
There's no bueno.
then you're missing out on millions.
Yeah,
of
that's a lot
dollars.
of money and a lot of time
Whoa.
spent on
For
the
sure.
boat. But that's dope. We got like some fish questions in there, you know. I was like skimming through
Bro,
all
you
the
perked
interviews
up,
you've
man.
done. and I seen you did like a whole like fish one, right?
Yeah.
And you were just going to town.
were you always into fishing, or
Yeah,
was this like
yeah,
a
I
Oh,
grew
he
up-
recurring-
I
talks
grew up
about
fishing.
it. Check out
Yeah.
that podcast. He goes all into like
Oh, you're talking about the fishing podcast.
yeah, 2 hours worth
Yeah.
of him
Oh
just
my
talking
God,
about
that's so
fishing,
funny.
man.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's
"There's
so
no
funny.
weed on this. What am I doing on here?" Like, my dad loves fishing and my grandpa loves fishing.
My uncle that I ended up finding out was a huge stoner once I got older.
Yeah.
Loves fishing.
Yeah, there's like a generational gap with me. My dad used to take me to Rosarito and Ensenada
Oh, yeah.
and throw me on the little lanchas, like
Yep.
a boat this
Panga,
fucking
yep.
the panga, yeah,
Yep.
a boat
Mhm.
this big, and I'd just be sick out there yakking, and you'd see the fucking I think they're like sculpins or something,
Yeah.
just eating that shit, and and we'd catch those motherfuckers and we'd take them home and we'd eat those motherfuckers. They're poisonous fish. And we eat those motherfuckers. You just gotta take the spines
Sculpins
off.
are
I
good.
think.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
good-
they were poisonous or spiky.
Sculpin are poisonous.
Yeah.
They are. Yep.
And then what else did we? My dad would go get like I don't know that he loves fishing to this day. Shout out Pops, crazy motherfucker.
Pops be fishing.
Pops be fishing, and Ivan too. Thoughts on people growing your genetics, let alone using your genetics to make more seeds?
I have this conversation with Fletch all the time because he's a homie, and I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, right? Once you release your seed to the world and it's out there, you know, if you want to make femmes, people can still reverse them. If you're doing true male-female breeding, people can do whatever they want when they get it. And I think once you put your seed out there, there's no stopping it. It's like a clone, right? That's how I look at it. If you want a clone, if you never want a clone to get out there, never give it to your homie.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I look at it too. Like once you like gave it to anybody,
Yep.
it's in the streets. It belongs
It's in the
to
streets.
the streets.
It
now.
belongs to the streets.
Yeah, so that's your correlation on it. We could get deep into it, but like there's still some originality left, I think. And that's just like, you know, paying homage, not blatantly renaming, and of course people are going to do that shit,
Yep.
you know, but all in all, cool. It's cool to get your insight on that as far as people using your genetics. I personally use your genetics and have made some really really dope fucking crosses.
Good.
Appreciate it. What's your favorite strain to grow?
Oh man. I mean, to me, cannabis is such a beautiful plant. Just staring at it, I don't think I could ever just grow one variety or one strain.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite part of going to work every single day, is opening up flower rooms that are crushing it and just looking at them and being like, dude, these plants are so beautiful. Like the colors and the smells, and you touch them and you're walking around with sticky hands all day long, and you go to the bank and they're like, it smells like a skunk in here. Like, I don't think I could ever just say one. I mean, you know, like if I had to grow one strain, I'd probably just grow OGs.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd ever have to just grow one strain.
No doubt. I don't disregard any plant either. Like I'm looking under every rock. I'm
Yep.
trying to see even the shit that people completely disregard, like Blue Dream. I still got a little Blue Dream rock in every season.
Yeah, of course.
just
You
to
have to.
encapsulate it. You
Yep.
know,
Is there any strains from like high school that you remember smoking that you like not changed your life, but you wish were still around?
Yeah, I mean, they could still be around, right? They're just growing so much better now.
Mm-hmm.
We got hydroponic weed in high school that was super fire, like lime green and purple stuff. Uh, but who knows if those strains are still around these days? That could have been like some what's called Urkel now, or one of
Mhm.
these GDP or something. Back then, it just didn't have a name.
Yeah.
no doubt.
So so yeah, back then it was just burps. What they didn't have a name. Weed was either green or it was purple or it was stress.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing in between. Called it chronic back
Kush,
then.
OG,
But Kush,
OG.
chronic.
That's once
That was
OG came
later.
around. That's
Yeah.
when then the medical scene came around, and we
Oh, yeah.
actually got to start naming shit and putting a name to it. I think.
Yep.
Five favorite, not five, but who are your favorite breeders and who are your favorite growers?
So breeders, man, there's a lot of really good breeders out there that are maybe smaller, that people don't know about.
Those are the ones I want to know about.
For sure.
Fuck like all the dudes that are crushing it already. All power to them. Everyone knows who they are already. What are like your baseball cards that like no one really knows about that you really cherish?
I would say one of the grower breeders that I respect most, only because he's been around me since day one, and he was another guy that was on the boards. And when I first started all this shit, I remember meeting with him, and he was like, "Bro, if you're gonna do this shit, you got to have the flour, you got to have the hash, you got to have the rosin, you got to have it all." And that's Archive.
And he's crushing it.
Archives.
That's not like there's no secret there. That's like Michael Jordan. Like cool. Thanks. You have a Charizard. Do you have any like that no one like slept on?
I mean, the kid who made Animal Tsunami.
Who's that?
It's Tsunami Seeds.
I met him.
Yeah.
And I am so like I met the dude and
Yeah.
and I didn't grab any Animal Tsunami seeds, and I feel like an asshole now.
Yeah, he shot us a bunch of stuff, and everything that we've gone through has been fire. But like, he's just one of many, though.
No doubt.
Because there's a lot of guys that people don't know from Instagram, or nowadays Instagram sucks so bad that all these new guys that are coming up, they don't even have a chance to even have an Instagram page.
It's man, I'm so glad that I think I'm one of the last dudes that got on that boat. Honestly,
I think so, for sure.
And I told Cap the same thing, and he's
Yeah.
like, I think so too.
Yep.
And I'm just like,
Yep.
And then after that, it's like, boop boop boop, fucking everywhere you turn around, there's like a new one, and all power to it. I mean, I'm part of that fucking monster anyway, so.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Fletcher and fucking Tsunami.
Yeah, I mean that's just a couple of them.
Yeah.
I think Green Dot Dave does really cool stuff that he just makes for himself and selects. But obviously he shoots us stuff. We're running through a bunch of stuff right now, and it's like vice versa. We make stuff, he uses it, and then I'll hit him up, be like, "Hey, bro, can I get some of those candy cake cheese hybrids?" And it's like, "Of course, bro. Here you go."
That's fucking gangster, man.
Yeah.
That's super dope. Green Dot.
Are you familiar with Green Dot's work?
I'm actually getting privy right now.
He's the man, bro.
I'm gonna go home and,
He's the
and
man.
do my little research on that. I'm a huge seed collector. Like I got so many fucking
Yep,
seeds.
same.
It's ridiculous. On that note, what's your seed collection looking like?
It's crazy. It's crazy. I think we dip into it though all the time. So it's constantly like, I remember the other day I was at home organizing a bunch of shit, and I just had, drawers full of seeds. And I'm like going through, I'm like, oh yeah, I need this one. And that's the cool part about it. It's like, shoot it to work and be like, okay, cut a hay, pop 100 of these, TLC, pop 500 of these.
That's so neat.
See you guys in a couple months. I want to let me know when all that shit is, around, week 6, 7.
Literally planting a seed, like figuratively and literally planting a fucking seed when
Yep.
he does that shit. I dig through a lot of seeds myself. Even though I don't have like a cut a hay spot, I just got
Sure.
my little thing going on. Fucking, I gets it cracking. You
Yep.
know, my seed collection's looking pretty dope. I've noticed that like I'll get a seed today, I won't necessarily know what it is, like based on like the lineage.
Yep.
Like what the fuck is shishka berry,
Yeah.
right? 2 years go by, I smoke some shishka berry, and I'm like, yo, I gotta go visit that right fucking now.
Yep.
That happens too many fucking times with me when I'm doing my selections to pop some more seeds. Where's the industry headed? Like, I know that's kind of an open-ended question, but like, how do you see what you're doing and everything navigated in 5 to 10 years?
I think right now we're in a really tough time. I think this industry grew really fast over a short period of time, especially like the last, let's call it 5 years with legalization in California. And I think we're on a major cleanse right now that anybody that was built on a rough foundation, so let's say you have a building and you're paying $3 a square foot for rent. First thing I asked you is how much you pay for rent. It's just like instilled in my mind, you don't own the building and you're basically a slave to your landlord.
Yeah.
And then you're growing in the city of LA where it's 50 cents a kilowatt to grow, and your electric bill every month's $100,000 a month, and we pay more money in taxes and more money than gas, and I can go on and on and on. And you're looking at it like, oh, it's costing me $1,300 to grow this pound, but I'm selling it for $1,100, right? I think those guys are slowly being pushed out of the market, and the guys that are growing for $600-700 a pound because they built it on a strong foundation, and they didn't get here just because they needed to get here, or they were in a rush because they had some IPO or some public company, or a team like us, that some of these grows we built 10 years ago, and we signed a lease thinking like, oh, in 10 years we'll be fucking out of here, and in 10 years you're still in the same building and you're paying $3 a square foot. You need to be able to get out of those and either buy or move to a city that's actually you can grow cannabis for less than $1,300-1,200 a pound, however much you're paying a pound,
Yeah.
to be able to stay in business.
Yeah.
Because the days of $5,000 packs are gone now.
No doubt.
So you got to be able to have a brand, a foundation that's strong, and you got to be able to cultivate cannabis at a dollar that makes sense for your business.
No doubt. How are you navigating in the status quo? Just
So it's tough.
Sticking to your guns, doing what you've always done. But
yeah, it's tough, right? We're doing good in Florida, and we're expanding in Florida. But like I said, we never got ourselves into debt, or we never got ourselves into projects that we were over our head, and it was something that we had these giant projects of thousands of lights in every single city, and we were opening up multiple locations. Like, we only have a couple stores.
Nice.
Right? Are we doing a big expansion in Florida? It's fairly big. We have 900 lights in Florida, right? It's not huge in the MSO scheme where these guys have put up 4,000 lights all the time, right?
No doubt.
So the 900 lights we have in Florida is because we're serving the whole entire state of Florida. A thing that people don't know about Florida is you can only sell what you produce. So I can't buy flower off of other people.
All right.
And the limit in Florida is 1.5 ounces every 35 days, or 2.5 ounces every 35 days. So imagine this, right? Masonic can only buy 2.5 ounces every 35 days.
That's not going to work.
Okay? And you can't go, like California, you can go from one store and then go buy an ounce at another store.
Yeah.
Well, the whole entire metric system in Florida is all interconnected. So if you walk into my store and you just bought 1.5 ounces a week ago, it will only let you buy 1 ounce. And then once that 1 ounce is done, you have to wait 35 days for your rec to renew. So the limits in Florida suck. So what do you do when you can't buy weed from a store? Where do you go? You go to the streets, right?
Yeah.
And that's all they're doing is they're just sending patients and customers to the streets, because it's like, bro, it's bullshit. 2.5 ounces every 35 days. Most people, you can smoke an ounce a day.
I smoke an eighth. and yeah, this is all like
Yeah.
It all depends. That's dope, man. To see the expansion and everything happen. I've seen it happen via Instagram.
Yeah.
It's dope to see. You were already like bigger than life when I stepped on Instagram, but it's cool to see it like just keep pushing forward. And
I remember when you showed up to Chalice and we kicked in and we were talking for a while.
yeah, I remember Chalice. Chalice was dope. That was the good old days. Would you say those are like the golden era?
Oh my God, bro! I remember sitting at Chalice, and telling everyone this will never happen again in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Like next year, this will not happen.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, no fucking way. This shit, we'll be here next year. And I said, the city and the state of California would never allow an event like this again. It's too good to be true.
Fucking A.
And sure enough, it was like one of the most epic events ever, where real smokers could go and smoke. Was it hot as fuck? Was it in the middle of nowhere? Sure.
Yeah.
But where else could you have a carnival, a music festival, openly smoke flower, sell as much flower as you wanted? That would never happen.
So I was like dead broke living at my parents' with a bucket, and I still had to I have to go there.
Yep.
I have to go just mingle and get some seeds too. I wanted to go get some seeds.
Yep.
And I did, and thank God I did, because that's how I made my fucking strains.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, our booth, we've talked about it before, but if you go back to who was in our booth, no one had a more poppin'
Yeah, you
booth.
had Cap, Obsolete,
Yep.
fucking Sea Junkie.
Yep.
Who else?
Burner.
Burner.
Be real.
That's fucking dope.
I remember Burner didn't have anything to sell. I told him, dude, just bring some apparel, right?
Yeah.
Show up with something. He's like, bro, you guys can't do me like this. I gotta have something. He was literally trapping Ace out of his backpack.
That's kind of how you got to do it sometimes,
Yeah.
man. Speaking of Burner, I remember the Tropic Thunder you guys had posted
Yeah.
one time, and that's the Tropicana Cherry Pie Tangy, right?
Yep.
From Oni at the
Yep.
time, but it was bred by Harry Palms for Oni Seed Company, I believe.
Correct.
And I had those seeds. Harry had sent me some, and I had them like in veg or something. And you guys posted them, and at the time, like I wasn't really privy to like phenos and like I'm just like I got the same shit they do. What the fuck? Like it's popping over here, and I'm just like, and everyone kind of like the same energy I had. They're like, you do, motherfucker, and it was really cool because like you guys were showcasing a seed that I was growing,
Yeah.
and and it was like. I'm in it, and it was cool. That Exotics brand, that's I don't if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a cool time in my life. We basically, me and Burner was working for Connected or doing a project with Connected, doing his thing up there, and we kind of got together. We're like, dude, let's try this. Let's do exotics. And I think at the time, him and Jigga weren't aligned on cookies and the direction they were going in, and he was having issues with Connected. So it was like, hey, let's try this exotics thing, and dude, we broke real bread together. Like,
That's fucking dope.
We had lines out the door, sold shit, like.
It's like Ninja Turtles meet the Power Rangers type shit, you know what I mean?
It was dope. It was
Yeah.
dope. I mean, it came down, and I remember he filmed Marijuana Mania, and it was like, how can we work together? How can we do some shit together? And it was cool. We had it popping. I mean, we had a big licensing deal with Reef, and he talks about it like it's known. We had a deal on the table to buy exotics for $200 million at the time.
Holy
right?
shit!
It's not. It sounds good when you say it, but of course there was a bunch of bullshit and a plot twist to it.
Yeah.
It was MedMen at the time.
Yeah.
Right, and the only way they were gonna give us that kind of money is they wanted to own all my genetics.
Oh, fuck that.
Right.
Mm.
So
Now looking back, can they have those?
right. So and it was like a stock deal. It wasn't no
Yeah.
cash deal. So $200 million of MedMen stock in today's world is probably worth like 25 cents.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
never mind. I think you
yeah,
get
yeah.
more for the $50 than the
Yeah.
clones that the
Yeah,
fucking
they're
got
trying to
leaked out
talk you into
already.
NFTs before it fucking
But at the time, right, when you think about it, and everyone was like smoke and mirrors, and public companies are going to be the future, and this is how people are going to make money in cannabis. It was like, dude, were we stupid for turning down this $200 million? And then when I go back and I look at it, I'm like, fuck no, I would have not ended up with any of my genetics,
Yeah.
right? They would have owned me, and then I would have ended up with a stock that in my head at one time I thought was worth $200 million, and they were going to probably lock me up for a few years, and by the time I went to go sell it, it was worth nothing.
Fucking gnarly.
And there's been a lot of guys, like a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people realize this in this industry, but there's been a lot of guys that have sold their businesses for a stock deal like that, and now those stocks are worth nothing. There's a
all
lot of really
good.
big players in the hydroponic industry that sold their company for $10-15 million, but it was a stock deal, and today that stock is worth pennies on the dollar.
$15 million.
Yeah, so let's say you sell your company for $15 million, right? Well, you got to pay half the money in taxes, right? So $7 million of that goes to taxes, right? But if you end up with a stock that at one time was worth $7 million, now it's worth $1, you still paid the $7 million in taxes
What
on
the
it.
fuck?
You don't get that tax money back unless you can show another business that took a loss like that, right? So a lot of these guys are sitting there and they sold their business, which they thought in their head was for millions of dollars, and now it's not worth anything, and it's pretty shitty.
Who's gonna carry like the torch as far as like Ivan Jungle Boys is concerned?
I mean, I think my family still
Yeah.
runs the business. I'm there every single day. I think that will always be a family and friend-owned business, and hopefully it always stays that way.
No doubt. What kind of music do you listen to? I remember you had like Schoolboy, Young Dolph, I think Jadakiss or Styles P, one of the two. Like, you know,
Yeah.
those are all dope fucking rappers.
Yeah, all that. I listen to a variety of everything. Red Hot Chili Peppers is what I grew up listening to. A lot of old punk shit. But
Blink 182's
So you're a
back.
rocker fool.
Blink 182 is not.
He's a rocker for real. You're about to lose a lot of fucking cells saying Blink-182 anything, all right? Take it easy. I'm just fucking around. Fucking, but yeah, that's dope. Just regular shit, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing too like punk is kind of gnarly. Like you gotta like know what's up to listen
Yeah,
to punk. Like
for sure.
you gotta like
That's
dig.
the era. That's the era I grew up in.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
what's up. Fuck yeah. I know you said you grew like a bag seed. Was one of the first strains you grew in, and I also remember in an interview you was talking about a branch that you would break off the backyard from your parents' yard and give to like your neighbors.
Yep.
Do you remember what that branch smelled like?
No idea.
Yeah.
I was probably like 5.
Yeah, there ain't no telling, man.
Yeah.
There ain't no telling. No doubt. First strain you grew, like any, like I remember first clone that I grew that I knew that I grew that was like an actual said clone that they gave to me was like an Af Gooey.
Yeah.
What was like the first one where you knew like what you were growing?
So back when it was like you could buy clones, so this is fast forward, you could buy clones, so you can go to medical stores in LA and buy clones. I remember there used to be like a Chem 4 deep chunk that I would grow. So back then, like deep chunk was really, it was a strain that didn't get you high. It was just really frosty.
Jesus.
So someone crossed it to Chem, and it had like, it brought out the flavor of the deep chunk with more of the Chem high.
Right.
And then back then, same shit, like Af Gooey's, Blue Dreams.
What's the new age deep chunk?
New age deep chunk nowadays? I mean, the problem now.
You gotta let one out. Like what's
new age deep chunk would probably be Purple Punch.
Purple Punch. You heard it here, guys.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, I
for
love
sure.
it. Hell yeah.
Yeah. But the thing about Purple Punch
It's
is
great for breeding.
It's great for breeding.
Yeah,
And
because
it's great
it's
for
beautiful.
hash. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful fucking plant. I remember when I got my Purple Punch cut, I'm like, I'm a master grower. You know, like that plant. Look at that plant. Like you gonna call me a bad grower? Look at that motherfucking plant. Fuck yeah, man. Any lost strains? Did we talk about that? Like a strain you might have lost?
I
yeah,
mean,
we did. The
too
skunk.
many, too
the
many,
fucking
bro.
skunk.
Too many.
Any future collabs with breeders?
I mean, I'm down to work with anybody that's doing good work and doing real work and putting in the time.
Yeah.
Like
archive.
Yeah.
Archive Jungle Boys type shit
For
going
sure,
on. I'm
for
just
sure.
throwing it in the air, man.
No, we got some stuff in the works.
I love like that's one of my like
Yep.
places that I hunt for shit. Like
Yep.
I'm always looking through archive gear. I got my favorite breeders, that's for fucking sure. And he's on there. You growing any landrace varieties?
Not right now.
Not right now.
I think sticking to what the problem with today's market is, you have to have so much variety.
You got to cater to the demographic.
Exactly.
And land races ain't really it, unless you want to roll the dice.
Yeah, we've done it before, and the problem is that there's only a couple people that really appreciate that shit.
There's like one dude.
Yeah. Same with the sativas.
I grew like 20 Afghan landrace varieties. I'm growing like 4 Thailand. I'm growing like 5 from India. And I'm growing these knowing that like no one is going to buy these.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing them for myself. And
See?
hopefully there's 100 motherfuckers that like it. Fuck yeah. Now we're just going to get kind of like, not silly, but like, no, not yet. Not silly, but just like not weed shit. Just like, oh,
Right.
what's your favorite color type shit. But not yet. Oh, I guess we are. What is your favorite thing about your career, and what's your biggest accomplishment?
Oh man.
Yeah, it's like a red or blue type
I
fucking
think
question.
favorite
Not
thing
really
is
big.
not having to answer to anybody.
Neat.
You know, being able to create a business that you can see other people around you do really good and be successful and buy houses and buy nice cars and, you know, live a good life, and you realize that we did this together as a team feels good.
That's fucking dope. That's super dope. What motivates you to work hard?
Man, my family.
Beautiful.
I think being able to give my kids what I never had, and not ever wanting to go back to being poor and not have fucking money and eat McDonald's every single day
Gross.
and bean and cheese burritos, and
Gross.
you want to go back to, you know, being able to provide a good life for your family.
Fucking amen, dog.
What's your biggest fear?
I don't.
It's
I
getting
don't-
cliche up in here, guys.
Yeah,
I know.
no. Listen, I think at one time in my life, my biggest fear was losing everything, and ending up one day, and you know, I've been through a lot of raids and a lot of shutdowns, been robbed, stole from. I've had it all happen to me, and I think you get to a point in your life where you don't have to worry about shit like that, and you're not like waking up the next day like, fuck, bro, if I lose this harvest, I lose everything, and I start from zero all over again because I've done it 100 times. I think once you get past that, then you don't live with the fear you used to live with. You're more of like, hey, let me make smart decisions and right decisions and work with people that have my back and people that are fun with, and you kind of get over that stage of being fearful in life.
No doubt. Fucking dope. What makes you angry?
What makes me
Yeah.
angry?
There's
An
gotta be
empty
something.
fishing pole.
There's got to be something out there.
No, I mean, I'm human, right?
Yeah.
Shit makes me mad. I think just you know, fucking just people just being fucking just dirty, and like when I say dirty, like just doing people wrong for a quick buck, and
Yeah.
and when you realize, like, bro, like if
So
you,
like I heard your fishing story about the dude that like you guys thought was homeless, who was like working on the boat and like doing all this shit for these boat dudes, and he wasn't getting compensated. Like that shit makes you angry type
yeah,
shit.
I mean, if you're taking advantage of somebody like that, and fucking somebody that's working hard, or somebody that's doing something, and you're not taking care of that, even if it's someone that that's done right by you, that's been loyal to you, and you just kind of use them to get to where you need to get to. I that shit pisses me off.
No doubt. No doubt. What makes you happy? Family.
Family, of course. Family, yeah.
What's your bucket list? You're like Ivan. Lord knows you can do whatever the fuck you want, but you still got any bucket list things left?
Of course. I have a million bucket list things.
All right,
I feel like
What's like one cool one that you haven't done yet?
man, I want to go to Maldives.
What is that?
Look it up, bro.
Maldives?
I think it's a
Yeah.
restaurant
Sick as fuck.
in off the
Sick as
Grove.
fuck.
No doubt. And
Yeah.
2 more questions, okay? Unless these fools have anything. Do you believe in luck? I believe luck is created, and you can like manifest it and put it in the air. Well, what do you believe in luck?
I believe that anything that you want in life you can have, as long as you work hard and you study it, and you don't give up. And when I say anything realistically, like, if you're like, bro, I want to own a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Or I want to have a store on Fairfax that's popping and I can do cool shit at. If you work hard enough at it and you study it and you put your mind to it, and when I say put your mind to it, I mean that's all you do. You don't care about anything else but that, and you do it right, and you do it the right way, and you take care of the people around you. I think you can have anything that you want, and I'm living proof of that.
Hell yeah, man. Hope, a lot of hope when I see people like you, give me a lot of hope, took a lot of muse. Any guilty pleasures? Like you see that's where we cut.
Nah,
right there.
I'll be honest, right?
It's
I
like
don't.
cheese.
I like Cheese Whiz. I don't actually. It's just I'm just
Twinkies.
fucking around.
Not really. I'm not a big drinker.
Yeah.
I used to drink when I was younger a lot, and I was always been like a happy drinker. I'm not the kind of person that gets mad or anything when it comes to drinking, but I know a lot of people that are that way,
Yeah.
and it affects them differently. But no, my muse is fishing and my family and growing weed and making people happy.
Fuck yeah. I think I got all my questions. Frank, anything? Not Clutch.
Hilarious. Yeah, no, I got none, man. That was great sitting down
You
talking.
think I nailed
listening.
it on all the stuff?
Yeah, no.
What are we
you're
plugging
perfect.
today? What do we have on the table? What's the deal right here, Ivan? What did you bring?
So I brought you all kinds of good stuff, man.
You brought me some Motor Breath,
I brought you Motor Breath,
Animal Tsunami,
Yeah.
Cold Snap, Mac, fucking
Strawberries and Later.
strawberries and later.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's
actually,
the cross on strawberries and later? It's now and later trying strawberries and cream. Love it.
Oh, is that the organic stuff?
Maybe you got him excited over here, Ivan.
and then a bunch of Jungle Boy rosin pins.
Thank you so
I
much,
bought
man.
you all kinds of fire
Thank you,
stuff,
man.
bro.
I
appreciate
did.
it.
I did have one question actually.
What happened?
And you said you smoked weed in high school. Were there any like funny stories or anything that smoked like when you were smoking with your friends in high school that happened?
I had a bunch of crazy shit happen in smoking weed in high school. It's like I don't even think when we first started smoking weed we were even getting like really high, and then you really get fucking high.
Oh yeah. So what was that time that you were like, oh, I really got high for the first time? Because I think that too. I didn't get like super blitz until like
One
the
time I
second
ditched.
time I got
I
high.
used to go to San Pedro High, and we
Yeah.
ditched to get high all day, and a fucking seal was like trapped on land, like, and he needed to be in water. So
Oh,
we're
you
like,
were
this is
super
like a
high.
bad high.
Yeah.
Like, you're killing my high. And like, there's a seal dying, and we're
Yeah.
trying to like kick back and relax.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
So
like,
y'all had to rescue the seal.
just to cover that one. But if you have anyone, fucking
Nothing like super, but same shit. Like I remember the first time getting super high and just like uncontrollably laughing and like just gut laughing and tears coming out of my eyes. I'm like, all right, this is what being high
yeah.
is.
I got home one time, and my mom noticed I was high, and she was cool with it. Like, my dad was like more like, you can get your ass whooped. But my mom's like, "You're high, like fucking go
yeah.
lift weights or something." And I'm like,
Go lift weights.
Yeah, I remember one time I walked in and my sister's like, "You're high," and I had used Visine, and I'm sitting there telling my mom like, "No, I didn't smoke," and my sister's like, "What's that on your pants?" And I had a little dime bag, like I was so high, like set it on my lap, and my sister's like, "What is that?" Because before it came in a little dime bag, little sack of chronic, and my sister's like, "What's that on your lap then?" And my mom looked at him like, "Fuck."
well, shit. Anything you want to say or do, man?
Nah, I appreciate
that's
you
it.
having me,
That's
bro.
the questions. Thank you so much for coming, man. Fucking
Awesome.
the Masonic Smoker podcast. Big Ivan from Jungle Boys.
Got you, bro.
Can we get you to sign these for the
Yeah.
Patreon?
Got you,
I
bro.
love it. This guy is the worst in the
Go
world.
buy a marker full of
Thank you, Ivan, for real, G.